The wind hit my window hard that night. The old house groaned like it wanted to die with me. I sat near the fire, holding a cup of cold coffee. I didn't drink it. I just stared at the smoke, the same way I stared at life, empty and slow. I don't think she'd want this, you know, I whispered to the quiet. My wife's picture sat on the mantel, smiling like she never left. The ranch was dying. The cattle were fewer each year. The fences broke faster than I could fix them. I didn't care much anymore. Then thunder cracked so loud I almost dropped the cup. The rain came fast, hitting the roof like stones. I was about to close the door when I heard it, a sound that didn't belong to the storm. Crying. I froze. The wind howled again, but the cry came back, small, human, scared. I grabbed my coat and lantern. Outside the ground was mud. The lantern light shook in my hand. "Hello?" I called. "Anyone out here?" Nothing, just rain. Then, near the river fence, I saw her, a small figure crouched behind a bush. "Hey!" I shouted. "You okay?" She jumped, slipped, and fell. I ran to her. Her hands went up like I was going to hurt her. "Easy," I said. "I won't harm you." She looked no older than 19. Her dress was torn, her face dirty, her knees bleeding. "Please," she whispered. "Don't send me back." "Back where?" I asked. She looked away. "Home." I knelt beside her. "You're hurt. I'll be fine," she said, shaking. "I just need to stay here tonight." "Please, sir," I hesitated. My house hadn't seen a guest in years, but something in her voice, that mix of fear and pride, hit me deep. "All right," I said. "Let's get you out of the rain." She followed slowly, limping a little. Inside, she stood near the fire but didn't move closer. She kept her arms crossed like she was afraid to breathe. "What's your name?" I asked. "Clara," she said. "I'm Samuel." She nodded, eyes fixed on the flames. I got her a blanket and some bread. She ate fast like she hadn't seen food for days. "How long you been out there?" I asked. 3 days, she said. I ran away. "From who?" She paused. "My father. And my mother, too." That surprised me. "Why?" Her eyes filled with tears. "They wanted to sell me." I blinked. "Sell you?" She nodded, whispering. "To an old man. For money." I felt the fire burn hotter. "You're serious?" "Yes." Her voice cracked. "They said I was a burden. They said he'd pay enough to save the farm." I clenched my jaw. The rain outside roared louder, but inside I could only hear her words. "I begged them," she continued, voice shaking. "I said I'd work. I'd do anything. But my father just said, 'A man pays for what he wants.' Then he locked me in the barn." I broke the window and ran. I stared at her, this broken girl standing in my dead house, soaked, trembling, and alone. "You did the right thing," I said softly. She shook her head. "No one believes me. If they find me, they'll send me back." "They won't," I said. "Not while you're here." She looked up, eyes wide. "Why would you help me?" I hesitated. The answer came slow, heavy. "Because I couldn't help the one I loved." Her gaze softened. She didn't ask who. Maybe she saw it in my eyes, the kind of pain words don't carry well. I brought out a towel and pointed to the small room beside the kitchen. "You can rest there tonight. It's not much, but it's dry." "Thank you," she said quietly. I nodded. "You're safe now." She turned toward the room, then stopped. "You live here alone?" "Yes." "No family?" "Not anymore." She said nothing for a moment. "You don't talk much." "Guess I forgot how," I said with a half smile. For the first time, she smiled back. Small, tired, but real. When she went to bed, I sat near the fire again. My hands shook, not from cold, but from anger, the kind I hadn't felt in years. How could parents do that to their own children? I opened the cabin door and waved her in. "It's warm inside," I said. She hesitated at the threshold, her eyes wide, hands gripping the torn fabric of her coat. The snow clung to her hair like frost on a dying leaf. "Go ahead," I said again, keeping my voice soft. "No one's going to hurt you here." She stepped in, slow and careful, as if the floor might vanish. I closed the door behind her, and the wind howled for a second before dying out. The silence after felt almost too heavy. She stood near the fireplace, staring at the flames but keeping distance from me. I noticed the bruises on her wrists, faint but fresh. She rubbed them like they burned. "You hungry?" I asked. "No," she whispered. Her voice cracked like thin glass. I walked to the stove and poured hot water into 2 cups. "It's just tea," I said, handing one to her. "No tricks." She looked at it but didn't take it. "Why are you helping me?" I smiled faintly. "Guess I still remember what it's like to need help." She frowned. "People always want something in return. Not me." I sat down by the fire. "Sit. You can warm up." She didn't move for a long moment, then finally took the cup and sat across from me. The firelight touched her face, too young, too tired, and too guarded. "What's your name?" I asked. "Lydia?" "Pretty name." She didn't respond. Her eyes stayed on the flames. I took a sip of my tea and said, "You can stay the night. Tomorrow we'll figure things out." She shook her head fast. "No, I'll go before sunrise." "Where to?" "Anywhere. Away from men like him. Your father?" She froze. "You don't know him." I leaned back. "You said he tried to sell you." Her fingers tightened around the cup. They both did. The fire popped. For a second I thought she might cry, but she didn't. "Your mother too?" I asked quietly. She nodded. "She said it was my fault. That I should make myself useful." I stared into the fire, trying to find words. "You don't deserve that. No one cares what I deserve." "Well, I do." She looked at me for the first time. Her eyes were sharp, green, full of fear and disbelief. "Why?" "You don't even know me." "Because I was like you once." Her eyebrows drew together. "You were sold?" "Not exactly," I said. "But I was left behind. My wife died. My land nearly went with her. Folks said I should give up. Maybe I almost did." She watched me, her hands trembling slightly. "And now?" "Now I just try to keep breathing." Silence again. The fire crackled and snow tapped at the window. "You can rest here," I said finally. "No one's coming for you tonight." She blinked slowly. "You're a widower?" "Yeah." I looked down at the floorboards. "Been years." Her tone softened a little. "I'm sorry. Don't be. Life doesn't stop because we hurt." She nodded, eyes still on the fire. After a long pause, she whispered, "I don't know how to trust anymore." "Then don't. Not yet. Just stay warm." That almost made her smile. Almost. I handed her a blanket. She took it, wrapping it around her shoulders. "Do you have family?" she asked. "No one left." She nodded. "Me neither." We sat in silence again. The room smelled of smoke and tea. Outside, the wind screamed like a ghost. After a while, she said, "You should have left me there." "Why?" "I bring trouble. I've seen worse. You don't understand. He'll come for me. Then he'll find me waiting." She looked up, startled. "You'd fight him?" "If I have to. Why risk your life for me?" I met her gaze. "Because someone once risked theirs for me. I never got to thank them." She didn't say anything for a while. Then she whispered, "You're strange. I've been called worse." Her lips twitched, almost a smile. "You don't even know what I've done." "Don't care," I said. "You're safe here." The wind pressed against the window, and the fire dimmed a little. I tossed another log in, the sparks jumping high. "You can sleep in that room," I said, pointing to the small door near the wall. "Clean sheets, warm bed." "I can't pay you," she murmured. "I didn't ask you to. People always want something. I just want peace, Lydia." She hesitated, then stood. "Thank you." Her voice was soft, but I could hear the weight behind it. She walked to the door, stopped, and turned. "Do you really think people can change?" I looked at her, so young, so broken, and yet still asking about hope. "Yes," I said. "But it takes time." She nodded and went in. I didn't sleep much that night. The wind howled outside, and the house creaked like an old memory. I turned on my bed thinking about Clara, her face, the way she looked when I found her. Bruised, tired, silent. It kept flashing in my mind. And for some reason, every time I saw her, I saw Abigail too. My Abigail. I closed my eyes and whispered, "It's not her. She's gone." But my heart didn't listen. When I finally drifted into sleep, I dreamed. Abigail stood near the river, the same river where we used to walk after sunset. She was wearing her blue dress, the one she loved most. Her hair danced in the wind. She smiled softly and said, "Elias, will you protect her?" I froze. "Who?" I asked. "The girl," she said. Her voice was kind, but it echoed like thunder. "She needs you." I tried to move closer, but she started to fade. I shouted, "Wait, don't go!" Then I woke up, sweating, breathing hard. The sun wasn't up yet. My shirt clung to my skin. The nightmare still burned in my chest. I sat on the edge of my bed and held my head. "Abigail," I whispered, What are you trying to tell me? I looked out the window. The sky was gray. The ranch was quiet except for the soft sound of hooves. Clara was outside feeding my horse. I stood by the window for a moment watching her. She looked peaceful, calm. The wind moved her hair, that same gentle brown color Abigail once had. I walked outside slowly. "You're up early," I said. She turned, startled. "Oh, I didn't mean to wake you." "You didn't," I said. "Just couldn't sleep." She smiled faintly. "Your horse likes apples. I gave him 2. He'll like you for that," I said, trying to sound light. Clara looked down at her hands. "I used to feed my father's horses too," she said. Her tone changed. "Before he sold them." "Before he sold me." I felt a sting in my chest. "You don't have to talk about that," I said gently. "I want to," she said. "You saved me, Mr. Elias. I owe you the truth." I sighed. "You owe me nothing. You're safe here." She nodded but didn't smile. The air between us grew quiet. I felt Abigail's words again. "Protect her," I said softly. "You remind me of someone." "Your wife?" she asked. I blinked. "How did you know?" "You say her name in your sleep," she said. "Abigail, right?" I looked away. "Yes, Abigail. She must have been special." "She was," I said. "The best thing that ever happened to me." "What happened to her?" I hesitated. "She died. Fever took her. I couldn't do anything." Clara looked at me, her eyes soft. "You tried, didn't you?" "I did," I said, "but it wasn't enough." She was quiet for a moment, then said, "You're trying again now." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "You're helping me," she said simply. "Maybe that's your way of saving her." Her words hit deep. I couldn't speak for a moment. "I don't know," I finally said. "Maybe I just don't want to fail twice." She smiled faintly. "Then don't." I looked at her, really looked. There was strength in her eyes now, small but growing. I said, "You're a brave girl, Clara." She laughed softly. "I don't feel brave." "Bravery doesn't mean feeling strong," I said. "It means doing something even when you feel weak." She nodded slowly. "Then maybe I am brave." We stood there in silence for a while, just watching the sun climb up the horizon. The golden light touched her face, and for a moment I saw both Abigail and Clara standing in front of me, past and present together. She said quietly, "Do you still miss her?" "Every day," I said. "But sometimes I think she's still here." Clara smiled. "Maybe she is." Later that morning, we worked together in the barn. I fixed the broken fence while Clara brushed the horses. She hummed a soft tune. I recognized it, Abigail's lullaby. My heart froze. "Where did you learn that song?" I asked. "My mother used to sing it," she said. I stared at her. "Your mother?" She nodded. "She said it was old. From before I was born, the air felt heavy. That same song, that same melody Abigail sang every night before she died. Coincidence? Maybe. But something inside me whispered otherwise. I didn't say more, but the thought wouldn't leave me. At lunch, Clara asked, "Mr. Elias, do you ever get scared?" I looked at her. "Every day," she blinked. "You don't look scared." "I just hide it better," I said. "You learn that when you lose too much." She leaned forward. "Then teach me," I smiled faintly. "All right. Lesson 1. Never let fear tell you who you are." She laughed, a small, honest laugh. It warmed something in me I thought was dead. After lunch, she helped me with the cattle. She worked hard, didn't complain once. The knock came after breakfast. I heard it plain. My hands were still smelling of coffee and hay. I wiped them on my pants and opened the door. Sheriff Colt stood on the porch. He looked tired. His hat was wet from last night's rain. "Morning, Sheriff," I said. "Morning, Elias," he said. He stepped in without waiting. "We need to talk." I closed the door behind him. "Sit down. Coffee?" "No, thank you." He looked at the empty chair. "This is about the maze." My stomach turned. "They came back?" "Yes." He leaned on the table. "They filed a complaint." "A complaint?" I said. My voice sounded small. "About what?" "They say you kidnapped their daughter," he said. He said it like he wished it were not true. "They want her returned." I felt my face go hot. Clara was in the next room. She hummed softly as she mended a shirt. I heard the needle click. Her voice was thin but steady. I swallowed and tried to keep calm. "Sheriff," I said. I took her in. She was near the river, freezing. Her dress was torn. She had bruises. Colt rubbed his chin. "They say you stole her away from a payment." They say Hargrove paid them to sell her? Hargrove? I spat the name. My hands clenched. That man? He was buying girls like cattle. Colt's eyes searched mine. They say you took her to your home. They say you kept her there. They want to press charges if she is not returned. I felt the room close in. You know the maze, I said. They'd sell their own shadow if it paid. Colt looked down. I know. But the law looks at facts, Elias. Two parties make a case if they choose to. I sat heavy. The wooden floor creaked. I heard Clara move closer. My heart beat fast. I could see the porch light through the window. The afternoon was pale. Bring her back? I said. The words left slow. Colt nodded. They want her. They claimed loss of property and abandonment. They will take it to the magistrate if you refuse. You want me to hand her over? I said. The girl you saw last week? Colt didn't answer quick. He folded his hands. I'm giving you 2 days, Elias. 2 days to think it over. Return her and the town will be quiet. Don't, and I'll have to do my duty. My jaw tightened. 2 days to what? To give her back to the people who would sell her. To the man who wanted to buy her for money? Colt's face softened. I know how you feel. I was a boy once. I learned the law doesn't bend for feelings. It bends for proof. I rose. My chair scraped. Colt, she is not property. She is a person. She is scared and she needs help. You know that. He looked at me and sighed. I know you would help any soul in need. I also know the town has rules. If you resist, you could be charged with harboring a minor. You could face jail. The word jail hit me like a fist. I thought of Abigail. I thought of the empty room in the house. I thought of the promise I made when she died. I had sworn to protect anything small and broken. I had sworn to stop the world from taking more from me. What would you do, Sheriff? I asked, my voice thin. If it were your girl? He closed his eyes a second. I'd bring her home, he said. I'd call the law. I'd follow the paper. You would send a child back? I said. Anger rose like a tide. You would send her into a house where men count coins and not hearts? Colt looked older than the badge. Don't make this about me, Elias. This is about you and the maze. 2 days. That's the law. The rest is your call. I walked into the next room slowly. Clara sat by the window. The light fell on her hair like a soft hand. She looked up when I stepped in. Everything okay? She asked. I kneeled before her. I had to keep my voice steady. Sheriff Colt says your parents filed a complaint. She blinked. The needle paused. They what? They say you were taken, I said. They want you back. Clara set the shirt on her lap. Her face did not. I saw the dust before I heard the wheels. A black carriage rolled up the ranch road, shining like sin under the afternoon sun. My gut tightened. I knew who it was. Mr. Hargrove stepped down slowly. Clean boots, gold watch, silver hair slicked back. His smile was cold. He looked at me like I was just another poor fool standing between him and his prize. Afternoon, Cowboy, he said, dusting his sleeves. You must be the man keeping my property. I clenched my jaw. She's not your property, he laughed. That slow, rich man's laugh. Everyone's property to someone, son. Don't fool yourself. Clara stood by the barn door, pale and silent. Her hands gripped her dress so tight I thought the seams would tear. Mr. Hargrove noticed her and tipped his hat. There you are, sweetheart. Your father and mother made a fine deal. Now, be a good girl and come along. I stepped between them. She's not going anywhere. His eyes flicked at me, sharp like glass. Is that so? You planning to marry her, Cowboy? Or maybe you just like playing hero? I'm not playing, I said quietly. He smirked, reached into his coat and pulled out a thick roll of bills. Then let's stop pretending. Name your price. I felt the weight of his words. And the money. I'd been behind on every bill. My ranch needed new fencing, feed, and fuel. But my damn pride was louder than my hunger. There's no price, I said. Every man has a price. Not this one. He smiled again, cruel and slow. Think, Cowboy. You could fix your barn, buy new horses, maybe even get a woman who wants you. This girl? She's nothing but trouble. Why risk your life for her? Clara's eyes met mine. Scared, small, but shining with something I couldn't name. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was trust. I'm not selling her, I said. Mr. Hargrove sighed and stuffed the bills back into his coat. You'll regret this. I always get what I pay for. He turned, his boots crunching in the dust. When he climbed back into that carriage, I swear the air got lighter, but my chest didn't. The wheels rolled away. I stood there long after he was gone, sweat drying on my neck. Clara whispered, "He'll come back." "I know," I said. "But next time, he'll find me ready." That night, I couldn't sleep. The moon hung over the barn, big and bright, like it was watching us. The sound of crickets filled the air. I walked out to the corral, boots crunching softly in the dirt. Clara was there, sitting on the fence, hugging her knees. Her hair blew in the wind. She looked like a ghost of herself. "You should be sleeping," I said. "So should you," she whispered. I leaned on the post beside her. "Can't. My mind won't stop." She looked at me then, her eyes dark but steady. "You shouldn't have done that." "He'll make trouble for you." "I don't care." "You should." I smiled a little. "I've faced worse trouble than one rich fool," she frowned. "You don't know him." "Then tell me." She hesitated, then said, "He buys people, girls. He says it's for work. But they don't come back." The wind picked up. My stomach twisted. "You were one of them?" I asked. "My father. He said it was a good deal. Said it would help the family." "He sold me for money." Her voice cracked. I wanted to say something, anything, but nothing felt right. "You're safe here," I said finally. She looked at me, eyes shining. "Safe doesn't last long. It will now." For a long moment, we just sat there under the stars. The night was quiet except for the wind and the sound of her breathing. "You're different," she whispered. "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I'm just too stubborn to do what's easy." She gave a small, tired smile. "That's a good kind of stubborn." We talked a little more, not about fear or pain, but about small things. She told me she used to like drawing when she was little. I told her I used to sing when no one was around. We both laughed at that. Then she asked, "Why did you help me?" I thought for a moment. "Because someone should have helped me once, but no one did." She nodded slowly. "Then I'll help you one day." I looked at her, this broken girl who still believed in promises, and felt something shift inside me. "You already are," I said. Later, I went back to the house, but sleep never came. I kept seeing that roll of bills in Hargrove's hand. The night was quiet until I smelled smoke. At first I thought it was just the fireplace, but then I heard the horses scream. My heart jumped. I ran outside, barefoot, my breath fogging in the cold air. "Clara," I shouted. She opened the door behind me, holding a lantern. "What's happening?" she cried. "The barn!" I yelled. "It's on fire." Flames were already dancing over the roof. The crackling sound tore through the silence of the night. The air was thick with heat and fear. I grabbed a bucket, but it was useless now. The fire was too strong. "I have to get the horses out," I said. Clara ran after me. "No, you can't go in there. You'll die." "I won't let them burn," I shouted back. She grabbed my arm, but I pulled free. Smoke bit my eyes the moment I stepped in. I could barely see. The air burned my throat. "Easy, boys," I shouted to the horses. "I'm here." They were terrified, kicking against their stalls. I untied the first one, a black mare, and slapped her rear. She bolted through the flames and out the door. Then the next one, then another. Each move felt slower, heavier. As the smoke thickened, my shirt stuck to my skin with sweat. My chest hurt. Still, I couldn't stop. "Come on, come on," I whispered to the last horse, an old brown stallion. He wouldn't move. I wrapped my arm around his neck. "Please, old friend," I coughed. "We've come too far." Finally, he moved, just as the roof above us cracked. We ran. Outside, Clara waited with water and tears on her face. When I stumbled out, she screamed, "You're alive!" I dropped to my knees, coughing hard. The cold air hit my lungs like knives. She knelt beside me, shaking. "You could have died," she said. "I saved them," I whispered, trying to breathe. Her hands trembled as she poured water over my hair. The barn behind us was collapsing, sparks flying high. That's when I saw him, a shadow near the trees. Someone watching, and then he ran. My body tensed. "Did you see that?" I asked. Clara turned, eyes wide. "See what?" "There!" I pointed. "Someone's running." Without thinking, I grabbed my rifle from the porch. "Don't!" she shouted. "You're hurt." "They did this," I said. "Hargrove's men." Her face went pale. I ran toward the trees. Branches slapped my face. I could hear footsteps ahead, fast and light. I stopped for a second, listening. Then I saw a man's back. Tall, wearing a dark coat. "Stop!" I yelled. He turned, fired a shot, and missed. I dropped behind a tree, heart pounding. The night went silent again except for the echo of that gunshot. I leaned out and fired once. The man ran deeper into the woods. Smoke from the barn curled behind me like ghosts. "Come back." Clara's voice carried through the dark. I didn't move. I kept my eyes on the trees. I wanted to chase him, end it, make them pay, but then I heard her again, closer. "Please," she said, her voice breaking. "Don't go." When I turned, she stood a few feet away, her hands shaking. Her eyes were full of fear, not for herself, but for me. I lowered the gun. "He burned my home," I said quietly. "I know," she whispered. "But if you go after him now, you'll never come back." Her words cut through my anger like cold rain. I looked at her. Really looked. Her hair was messy, face streaked with ash, eyes shining in the firelight. She looked small, fragile, and yet so strong. I realized she wasn't scared of the flames. She was scared of losing me. "I can't just stand here," I said. "Yes, you can," she said softly. "For me." I felt my anger fading, replaced by something heavier, something warmer. For the first time in years, someone cared if I lived or died. I dropped the gun into the dirt. My hands were shaking. The fire behind us roared, eating the last of the barn. The smell of smoke and ash filled the air. She stepped closer. "You're bleeding," she whispered, touching my arm. "It's nothing," I said. But my voice cracked. She took my hand and held it tight. "Don't let them turn you into someone you're not," she said. Her words echoed in my head. I looked at the barn one last time. All the years of work, gone in an hour. But Clara was still here, alive, with me. Maybe that meant something. Maybe that was enough to start again. She leaned her head against my shoulder. For a long time, we didn't speak. The night was quiet again, except for the sound of burning wood. I whispered, "I'm no longer alone." And for the first time since my wife died, I believed it. I held the reins tight as the town came into view. The air felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Clara sat beside me, silent. Her hands were shaking, her eyes fixed on the horizon. I said softly, "You don't have to do this if you're not ready." She turned to me, voice small but steady. "I need to. I can't run anymore." The townsfolk noticed us before we even reached the square. Whispers spread like wildfire. "That's the rancher. That's the girl. The one he took in." Their stares burned holes through my coat. I kept my head high. "Let them talk," I muttered. We stopped in front of the sheriff's office. Sheriff Colt stood on the porch, arms crossed, hat low over his eyes. "You're late," he said. "Had to make sure she was ready," I replied. He looked at Clara. "Are you ready, miss?" She nodded, though her knees trembled. Inside, the small courthouse smelled of old wood and dust. A dozen faces turned as we entered, Clara's parents among them. Her father's face was red with anger. Her mother looked cold, empty. The sheriff cleared his throat. "We're here to settle a matter of accusation and truth," he said. "Clara Hargrove claims mistreatment by her family. The rancher, Luke Thompson, claims he rescued her from harm. The Hargroves claim he kidnapped her. Today we find the truth," the crowd murmured. Her father, Mr. Hargrove, stood first. "Sheriff, this man stole my daughter. He filled her head with lies. He wants sympathy." I stayed quiet, watching Clara's hands twist in her lap. "Mr. Thompson." The sheriff said, "You'll get your turn." "I'll wait," I said. Mr. Hargrove went on. "My daughter was confused. She's always been delicate. He took advantage of her state. He should be punished." "Enough," the sheriff said. "Miss Clara, you may speak." Clara froze. The room fell silent. Even the wind outside stopped. She rose slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. He didn't take me." Her father's face turned pale. "What nonsense! Let her speak!" Sheriff Colt barked. Clara took a breath. Her voice grew stronger. "He saved me. He found me working in the fields when I was hungry, cold and bleeding. My own father sent me there to work. He said I had to pay for being born." Gasps filled the room. Her mother stood up, face white. "Clara, stop this madness." "You were sick. You imagined things." Clara shook her head. "No, Mama, I remember everything. The night you told me I was a burden. The day he sold me to that man from Ridge Farm." Her father shouted, "Lies!" "Sit down, Hargrove," the sheriff warned. I finally spoke. "Sheriff, I saw the papers. I found the man who claimed ownership of her. Said he paid Hargrove $20. The sheriff turned. "Do you have proof?" "Not yet," I said. "But I have a witness." Everyone looked around. A door creaked open. A man stumbled in, half drunk, coat torn. His name was Miller, one of the ranch hands from Ridge Farm. "Miller," I called. "Tell them what you told me." He blinked, swaying. "I ain't supposed to talk," he said. Sheriff Colt's voice grew sharp. "You're under oath now. Speak." Miller rubbed his face. "I saw it. Hargrove took the money. Said the girl wasn't worth feeding. That's the truth." The room went dead silent. Clara covered her mouth. Her mother sat down, shaking. Her father's face turned dark red. "You're drunk," he shouted. "You can't trust him." Miller laughed bitterly. "Drunk, sure. But I remember what I saw." Sheriff Colt looked at Hargrove. "Is this true?" Hargrove clenched his fists. "You got no right to judge me." "My family, my rules." "Not when it breaks the law," Colt said. I felt my chest tighten. The wind howled outside my cabin that night. I could feel the storm building inside me, too. The shadows were long, the night cold, and the world silent. Too silent. I sat near the fire, cleaning my rifle, when I heard the crunch of boots outside. "Clara," I whispered. "Stay inside. Don't move." She looked up from the chair, her eyes wide. "Who is it?" I didn't answer. My gut already knew. It was Hargrove. The man I once called a friend. The man who took everything from me. The door creaked open. His voice cut through the dark like a knife. "Evening, Tom." I kept my hand steady on the rifle. "You got no business here." He stepped forward, smirking. "Oh, I got plenty. You stole from me, that girl, that land, that peace I had. You think you can live like a saint now?" "I didn't steal nothing," I said quietly. "You lost it yourself." He laughed, bitter and loud. "Still talking like a preacher after all that blood. You think killing me will wash your sins clean?" "I don't want to kill anyone tonight," I said. "Go home, Hargrove." It ain't too late. But I could see his hand twitch near his belt. His eyes were wild, full of hate and whiskey. "He wasn't here to talk." Clara gasped behind me. "Please don't do this." Hargrove sneered. "You stay out of this, girl. He's the reason your life's cursed." I took a breath. "You don't scare her no more." "You don't scare me either." He raised his gun. I saw the flash before I heard the sound. Bang. The echo shook the walls. Smoke filled the air. For a moment, time stopped. My ears rang. My hands shook. Then I saw him, Hargrove, lying on the floor, blood spreading under him like dark wine. His gun was still in his hand, fingers stiff, eyes open but empty. Clara cried out, "Tom, are you hurt?" I looked down at my chest, my arms. No blood, no pain. "No," I said slowly. It's not mine." She ran to me, trembling. "He tried to kill you." I stared at the body. I know. The fire crackled. The storm outside broke, rain hammering the roof. The sound drowned out everything but my heartbeat. I had no choice, I whispered. "It was him or me." Clara knelt beside me, tears on her face. "He would have killed you, Tom. You did what you had to." But I couldn't shake the sight. His face, his last breath. I walked to the door and stared out at the rain. Killing don't feel like winning. Never has. She stood behind me silent for a moment. Then she said softly, "He got what he gave." Her words hit deep. They burned and healed at the same time. "I wanted justice," I said. "But now all I feel is hollow." She touched my shoulder. "You gave me a home, Tom. You gave me life. Maybe this was fate. Maybe this was how it had to end." I turned to her. "No one deserves to die like that. Not even him." Her eyes met mine, calm, steady, forgiving. "Then pray for him. And for yourself." We buried Hargrove the next morning. The rain had stopped, but the sky stayed gray. Clara stood beside me, her hands clasped tight. I laid his gun beside him. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Why give him that?" "It's all he ever trusted," I said. "Maybe it'll keep him company." We stood there a long time. The wind moved through the grass, whispering secrets I didn't want to hear. As we turned to leave, Sheriff Adams rode up. "Heard the shot last night," he said, eyeing the grave. "That him?" "Yes," I said. "He came for me." The sheriff nodded slowly. "Any witnesses?" I sat alone in the study that night. The fire was low and the air was cold. Clara had been quiet all day. I thought she was just tired from work, but when she came in holding something in her hand, I saw her eyes were wet. "Elias," she said softly. "I found this in one of Abigail's old books." I looked up slowly. "What is it?" She held a folded yellowed letter. The paper looked old, fragile. My hands shook a little as I took it. "Where did you find it?" "It was inside the Bible on your shelf," Clara said. The one you never touch, I smiled faintly. That sounds like her. My voice cracked a little. Always hiding things where I'd least expect. Do you want me to read it? She asked. I nodded, unable to speak. She opened the letter gently. Her voice trembled as she began. Elias, if you ever find this, know that love doesn't die. It only changes shape. Clara paused. The fire cracked. My chest tightened. She read on. If I'm gone, don't lock your heart. Don't let the ranch or the silence become your prison. Promise me you'll live again, laugh again, and let someone in again. Clara's voice broke. She wiped her eyes and looked at me. She wrote this for you. I swallowed hard. Keep reading, I whispered. She nodded. You always worked too much, Elias. You said love was something you'd earn when you were done working. But love isn't a payment. It's a gift. You gave me peace, and I hope one day you'll give that peace to someone else. My eyes burned. I rubbed my face roughly. I can almost hear her saying it. Clara folded the letter for a moment, but then she unfolded it again. There's more, she said softly. She continued, if a day comes when someone walks into your life and makes the walls of your heart shake, don't run. Don't hide behind guilt. Let love find its new shape. The words hit me like a slow wave. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. She knew, I whispered. Even back then she knew I'd be alone, afraid to start again. Clara placed the letter on the table between us. She didn't want you to stay alone forever. I looked at her, really looked at her. Her hair was loose, her eyes soft but full of strength. She wasn't a girl anymore. She was a woman who had carried me through storms I couldn't face alone. Abigail was right, I said quietly. Love doesn't die, it just changes. Clara hesitated, then spoke carefully. Elias, do you think she meant me? I looked down at the letter, then back at Clara. Yes, I said finally. I think she meant anyone who could heal what time broke. And that's you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I didn't mean to take her place, she said. I only wanted to help you. You didn't take her place, I said gently. You gave her words meaning. She asked me to live again, and I'm trying. Clara reached out, resting her hand over mine. She must have loved you very much. She did, I whispered. And I think somehow she loves you too. The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was warm, almost peaceful. The kind of silence that feels like an answer. Clara picked up the letter again. There's one last line, she said. When you read this, smile for me. It means you finally opened your heart. I smiled through my tears. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the weight of loss. I felt gratitude. A strange calm filled me, like a storm finally ending. Do you think she's watching? Clara asked. I don't know, I said softly. But if she is, I think she's smiling right now. Clara folded the letter again, carefully placing it back inside the book. Should we leave it there? She asked. Yes, I said. That's where it belongs, between old pages and new hands. We sat by the fire, saying nothing for a while. The flames danced, and the shadows on the wall seemed to move like whispers. I used to think love ended with death, I said finally. But now I see. It's like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Clara smiled faintly. You sound like a poet, Elias. I woke up to the sound of laughter coming from the yard. It was Clara. She was trying to saddle the horse again, and I could hear her arguing with it like it was a stubborn child. Come on, Dusty. Don't look at me like that, she said. I smiled. I never thought I'd hear laughter around this house again. The sound felt strange, like sunlight after a long winter. I walked outside. You're still fighting that horse, huh? She turned and grinned. He listens to you, not me. That's because I feed him, I said. She laughed again and handed me the reins. Then maybe I should start feeding you too, I chuckled. You already do. That stew last night could fix any broken man. Good, she said, patting the horse. Because you looked broken when I first came here. Her words hit deep. I didn't answer. Instead, I helped her adjust the saddle. She climbed on slowly, gripping the horn tight. Don't look down, I said. I'm not scared, she replied, though her voice shook a little. Yes, you are. Everyone is the first time, she smiled nervously. Even you? Especially me. The horse started moving and she wobbled. Whoa, he's faster than I thought. You'll get used to it, I said, walking beside her. Just breathe, she did. Step by step, she found her rhythm. The wind blew her hair across her face, and for a moment, I saw something pure. Freedom. After a few minutes, she stopped and looked around the wide-open fields. "It's beautiful here." "Yeah," I said softly. "It is." She turned to me. "You ever feel lonely out here?" "Used to," I said. "Not anymore." "Because of me?" she asked. I nodded. "Because of you," she smiled. "Then I'll stay." The words caught me off guard. "Stay?" "Yeah, where else would I go? My parents didn't want me." "You gave me a home." I took off my hat and rubbed my forehead. "Clara, you don't owe me anything." "I know," she said. "That's why I want to stay." We stood there in silence for a while. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and gold. She looked peaceful, like she finally belonged somewhere. That evening, we sat on the porch drinking coffee. The crickets were singing. The air smelled like rain and earth. She leaned back and sighed. "Do you ever think about the past?" "Too much," I said. "About your wife?" "Yeah. You loved her a lot, didn't you?" "I did. Still do." She looked down. "I never had someone love me like that." I looked at her, my voice quiet. "You will. One day someone will see you for who you are." She smiled faintly. "Maybe, but right now I'm happy here." I nodded. "Good. That's enough for me." Later that night I found her in the barn, brushing the horses. "You work too much," I said. She grinned. "So do you. That's different. I'm old." "You're not that old." "I feel it." She stopped brushing and turned to me. "You know what I think?" "What?" "I think you needed saving too." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "When I came here I was broken." "But you were too. You just hid it better." Her words stung, not because they were wrong, but because they were true. "I lost my wife," I said quietly. "Then the ranch started falling apart. I thought I'd lost my purpose. And then I showed up," she said, finishing for me. I nodded. "Yeah, then you showed up." She smiled softly. "You saved me, but I think you also saved yourself." I didn't know what to say. I just looked at her. This girl who had seen too much pain for her age, yet still had hope in her eyes. Maybe she was right. Over the next few weeks, life found rhythm again. Clara learned fast. She could rope, ride, and plant better than most grown ranch hands. She even fixed the old fence I'd been avoiding for months. "You see?" she said proudly, wiping sweat from her forehead. "Told you I could do it," I laughed. "Guess I don't need to hire anyone else." "You'd miss me if you did," she teased. "Yeah." The sky turned gray that morning. I smelled rain before it came. I was fixing the barn roof when Clara called. "John, come here." Her voice shook. I climbed down and wiped my hands. Two old figures stood by the gate. They looked tired, broken. Then I froze. It was Clara's parents. Her mother leaned on a stick. Her father's face was pale, thinner than I remembered. For a moment, no one spoke. The wind howled between us. Clara whispered, "It's them, John." They came back. I said nothing. My chest felt heavy. 10 years had passed since the day they left her on the road like she was nothing. I thought I'd never see them again. Her father stepped forward. "Clara," he said softly. "We had nowhere else to go." I clenched my fists. My voice came out rough. "You have a lot of nerve coming here." He looked down. "I know," he said. "But we're sick." "We've lost everything." Clara stood still for a long time. Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice was calm. "You left me," she said. "You sold me. You broke me. Why now?" Her mother coughed. "We were wrong, Clara," she said. "We didn't know what life would do to us." I couldn't hold back. "You didn't know?" I shouted. "She was a child." "You nearly killed her." Clara turned to me. "John," she said quietly, "please." I stopped. Her tone wasn't angry. It was steady, sad, and full of something I didn't understand. She walked to her father. He tried to speak, but she raised her hand. "Don't," she said. "Not yet." Rain started to fall, light drops on the dirt road. Clara looked at them both and said, "You can come in for the night." Nothing more. I stared at her. "Clara, no," I said. "You don't owe them anything." She turned to me. "I know," she said. "But if I forgive them, I'll be free." Those words hit me deep. I saw strength in her eyes, the kind that doesn't come from hate, but from peace. I nodded slowly. "All right," I said. One night, inside I lit the fire. The house felt too small, too full of old ghosts. Clara gave them dry clothes. Her father sat on the chair, shaking. He looked at me. "You took care of her," he said. "Didn't you?" I crossed my arms. She took care of herself, I said. I just gave her a chance. He nodded.
That's more than I ever did.
The silence between us stretched. Then Clara came in with soup. She placed the bowls on the table. Eat, she said softly. Her mother's hands trembled as she lifted the spoon.
You've become strong, Clara,
she whispered. Clara smiled faintly. Pain teaches, she said. Her father lowered his head. I thought I was doing what was right, he said. I thought if I got money we'd survive. But I lost my soul. Clara stared at him for a moment. And now? She asked. He looked up, tears in his eyes. Now I just want peace. I saw Clara's face soften. She sat across from him. You hurt me, she said. But I can't carry that hurt forever. He reached out a shaky hand. She hesitated, then held it. Her eyes glistened in the firelight. I looked away. Something inside me broke and healed at the same time. Later after dinner, I stepped outside. The storm had passed. The sky was dark but calm. I leaned on the fence and breathed the cold air. Clara came out and stood beside me. I didn't think this day would come, I said. She smiled weakly. Neither did I, she said. But maybe it had to. I turned to her. You really forgive them? She nodded. Yes, for me, not for them. I shook my head. You're stronger than I'll ever be. She laughed softly. No, John, you're the reason I learned to forgive. You showed me what kindness is. Her words silenced me. I didn't know what to say. Through the window I saw her father crying quietly. Her mother rubbed his shoulder. For the first time, they looked like people, not monsters. Just lost souls who had finally found the weight of their sins. I whispered, Do you think people can really change? Clara looked at the stars. Sometimes, she said, when life breaks them enough. We stood there in silence. The air smelled of wet earth. The old barn creaked in the wind. I thought about the years. How far we'd come from that broken night when I found her crying in the rain. Now, she was the one offering shelter. Clara said softly, I'll let them stay till morning. Then they'll go, I nodded. All right, you decide. She touched my arm. Thank you, she said. When she went back inside, I stayed out a little longer. I watched the light from the window flicker on the wet ground. Maybe forgiveness was another kind of storm. The kind that washed away the dirt, not destroyed it. That night, I heard Clara's father weeping in the next room. His voice was low, almost prayer-like. God forgive me, he whispered. Forgive me for what I did, Clara's gentle voice followed. You already are, she said. The words were simple, but they carried peace. I closed my eyes and listened. The house that once held pain now held forgiveness, and for the first time in years, I felt that everything, every tear, every scar, every silence, had finally found its meaning. I whispered to myself, the storm is over. Then I smiled, knowing that in Clara's heart, the sun had already risen. The sun was low when I sat on the porch, rocking slowly. My hands rested on my knees, rough and scarred, like the years behind me. I watched Clara ride through the golden fields, her hair dancing in the wind, her laughter echoing across the land. Ride slow, Clara, I called out, shading my eyes. She turned, waving. I'm not a child anymore, remember? I smiled. You'll always be that wild little thing who couldn't sit still. She grinned. And you'll always be the man who gave me a home. Her words hit deeper than she could know. I looked out toward the hills where Abigail once loved to walk. For years I felt like a broken man, a widower clinging to dust and silence. But now, the ranch felt alive again. Clara rode closer, dust swirling behind her horse. You think she'd be proud of me? She asked softly. I nodded. She'd love you like her own. She dismounted, tying the reins. I still feel strange calling you Pa. You don't have to, I said gently. But you can if you want. Clara bit her lip, her eyes glistening. I want to. I swallowed hard. Then I'm proud to be your Pa. She smiled through tears. You saved me when no one else cared. I shook my head. You saved me too, Clara. The wind shifted, carrying the faint scent of wildflowers from the far meadow, Abigail's favorite. I closed my eyes for a moment. I used to think this land was cursed, I said quietly. Every time I looked at it, I saw loss. But now, I see hope. Clara sat beside me on the porch steps. You rebuilt everything, she said. Not alone, I replied. You helped me believe again. She leaned her head against my shoulder. I used to hate my father, she whispered. For what he did. For selling me off like I was nothing. But now, I just feel sorry for him. I turned to her. That's how you know you're free. She sighed. Do you ever stop missing her? I stared at the horizon. No, but the pain changes. It becomes softer, like a song you once knew by heart. Clara nodded. She must have been special. She was everything, I said, my voice breaking slightly. Kind, strong, the kind of woman who made even silence feel full. We sat there in quiet for a long while, the ranch bathed in sunset gold. Do you still talk to her? Clara asked. Every night, I said, sometimes in words, sometimes just in thought. What do you say? That she'd be proud of you. Clara's lips trembled. You really think so? I know so. She took a deep breath, staring at the horizon. I used to pray for a place like this. A family, someone to call home. You found it, I said softly. She smiled. No, Pa, we found it. The screen door creaked open, and old Jasper, my ranch hand, stepped out. Dinner's ready, boss. Thanks, Jasper, I said. He nodded to Clara. You ride good now, miss. Your ma'd be proud. Clara smiled shyly. Thank you. After he went back inside, I watched her trace patterns on the wooden porch with her boot. You ever think about leaving? I asked. She looked up, surprised. Leaving? Seeing the world. Doing something else. She shook her head. I did once, but now, I don't need to run anymore. That word, run, struck me. Because for so long I'd been running too. From grief, from guilt, from myself. But not anymore. I'm glad you stayed, I said. I'm glad you opened the door that day, she replied. We both laughed quietly, remembering the moment our paths crossed. The frightened girl with bruised hands and hungry eyes, and the broken man who'd forgotten how to live. The sun dipped lower. Shadows stretched across the fields. You ever wonder why God brings people together the way he does? Clara asked. All the time, I said. But maybe it's not for us to know. Maybe we're just meant to be grateful. She nodded. I am. So am I whispered. The breeze picked up again. It brushed against my face, warm and gentle. And for a moment, it felt like Abigail's touch, the way she used to smooth my hair when I worried too much. I looked up at the sky. Abigail, I murmured. She's safe now. Clara looked at me curiously. Did you say something? I smiled faintly. Just talking to an old friend. She grinned. You're a strange man, Pa. Maybe, I said, chuckling. But strange men make good fathers. Guess that's true, she teased. We stood side by side, watching the last light fade. Come on, I said. Let's eat before Jasper burns the stew. She laughed, her voice bright. Race you to the door? I grinned. You're on. She darted forward, boots thudding on the porch. I chased after her, slower but laughing harder than I had in years. When we reached the door, she turned and hugged me tightly. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For giving me a home. I looked down at her, my heart heavy and full at once. You gave it back to me. Inside, the table waited. 2 plates, 2 lives, 1 new beginning. As the night settled over the ranch, I sat back in my chair and looked across the room. Clara was smiling, humming softly as she served stew. For the first time since Abigail died, I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel broken. The world outside was dark, but inside, there was light. Soft, steady, alive, and in that light, I finally understood something. Sometimes, family isn't blood. Sometimes it's who shows up when the world forgets you. I took a deep breath, letting peace settle in my chest. The wind brushed the window once more. I smiled. I know, I whispered to the night. She's safe now. And for the first time in 10 long years, I felt home again.